All right. So thank you so much for being a part of Championship Leadership Podcast. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be on the call with you today. And I'm actually really excited about the topic and about the podcast in general. I think it's a topic that not a lot of people cover. So I think it's really unique, and I'm really honored to be a part of it.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for being here. So yeah, let's start with that. What comes to mind? What do you think about when you hear the phrase or the title of the podcast, Championship Leadership?
Well, I think of the best of the best. I think of those um, who are creating the paths for others to follow. People who are walking the talk. I feel like when I think of championship leadership, I think of those who have a lot of experience under their belt and have there are people who could learn a lot from those who have been there before them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's well put. And so for those of you that are watching, just so you know, I've been working personally with Jennie for, has it been more than 2 years?
Oh yeah, I want to say it's been probably almost 3 years.
Yeah, so almost 3 years, and she has helped me inside of my nutrition immensely. I've taken on some big challenges over the past few years, and kind of longer physical, challenging endurance type events, and I've lost a significant amount of weight along the way. And Jennie has been there. And when I think of championship leadership, Jennie comes to mind. She is absolutely a leader, and a leader at the highest level. And so inside of what she does, which is, why don't you tell us what you do? Maybe give us a little background too, like how this all came to be for you inside of Valkyrie Athletics, the company that you own and operate, and for all the clients that you serve.
Well, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, Valkyrie Athletics, we are a sports nutrition company. We specialize in working with high performance athletes who are looking to optimize their body composition without sacrificing strength and performance. And so this is actually my fourth fitness business. I've been doing nutrition for over 10 years now, and was recently, actually in this past October, was inducted into the Fitness Hall of Fame for the contribution I've made to the community and to those that I've worked with. So, which was never ever something that I was working towards. It was just, was a big surprise to me to even be nominated, and then, to be the one who was chosen to be inducted out of the amazing nominees who were all, voted to, try and make it into the Hall of Fame. So
yeah, that's incredible. I mean, 10 years, which really, if you look at it, isn't that long of a time, right?
no, but they
And
do
to
say that
be inducted into the Hall of Fame, yeah.
yeah, they, when I say they, it's like, who's they? But
Well,
they say that it takes about 10 years to master a craft,
yeah.
any craft. It takes 10 years of consistent work to master any type of craft. So I think to me that was like, oh, I made it to the 10-year mark, and there you go. So, so I guess I will work my way, starting from when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I always told people that when I grew up, I wanted to be the person who got to wear the khaki shorts and the polo shirt, who would run onto the football field to help the broken football players. And that I had no idea what it was called. I just knew I wanted to be that person.
That's awesome. The khaki shorts and the polo.
That's right. I wanted to wear the outfit, and I wanted to be the person to, tend to the, sprained ankles and, the twisted knees,
Yeah.
things like that. And so, actually, I was going to bring it here, and I totally forgot. But in high school, when we had to do a senior portfolio, and we had to present this portfolio in front of in front of a panel of teachers and professionals throughout the community, and basically present what it was that you were going to bring to the community and what you're going to be doing from this point forward in order to, go into your career and establish yourself. And I wrote an essay and I did a presentation on changing the world through health and nutrition, fitness and nutrition.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, after I graduated, I went to college and started studying kinesiology and sports medicine and sports nutrition. So all the way from a little kid until college, all the way up to college, I always knew that fitness and physical activity and health was my passion. And we'll get into this because I know you're going to ask me about this, but I have many, many generations on both sides of my family, all military. And I said, I don't know what it is that I'm going to do, but I do know I'm not going to be in the military. Even my sister was like, I'm going to be in the Navy. And I was like,
Well, that's awesome. Clarity is power for sure. So
yeah. And so I did take a little detour into the medical field, and I worked for a children's hospital for 7 years. But at the same time, I had already started my fitness business path. At the same time as I started working for Children's Hospital here in San Diego was when I launched my very first boot camp, Jennie's Rock Your Body Boot Camp.
Rock Your Body Boot Camp. I love that.
Rock Your Body Boot Camp. And for those who know me and know me well, know that I'm a metalhead and I love rock and roll. I was raised on rock and roll, and my logo was a metal sign with a doorbell with a dumbbell through it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
In pink Barbie letters.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That is where it all began.
Yeah, there's
That's
still
awesome.
a Facebook page, which is
there really?
Yeah.
Rock Your Body Boot Camp. Cool.
Yeah. So it wasn't until about 2011. Hi, Rogue. You found your way back. It wasn't until about 2011 where I took the deep dive out of the medical community and went full-blown fitness and opened my very first fitness studio called Fit with Jennie. And I had a business partner who was also named Jennie. So
Jennie and Jennie.
Yeah, Jennie and Jennie. And then we separated ways in 2014, and just a month later is when Valkyrie Athletics was born, February of 2014.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say that because to be a business owner, to do what you've done, to be in a short time period, in 10 years, to make it into the Hall of Fame, you definitely have to be a leader. And have you always felt like you have been the type of person to take on leadership roles, to be a leader, to lead others, to help others? Or is this something that you've kind of grown into inside of your life?
So I learned discipline from a very young age. So all the women in my life, my grandmother was in the Army, my mom was a commander in the Navy, and my babysitter, who for the first 10 years of my life, she was from Czechoslovakia, and she was not one to mess with.
Yeah, I bet.
You crossed her and you were standing in the corner with your hands behind your back, your forehead against the wall, on your knees.
Oh, wow.
And she taught me the art of always being able to find work and making yourself useful. as she would put it. Make yourself useful, and had me go out back and crushing cans with a sledgehammer, or, you know, tidying up, always basically working hard, making yourself useful, helping others, and being disciplined, knowing your manners, that type of stuff. And then, you know, just my mom, obviously, and with a heavy military family, everything was always very structured. There were rules that, you know, that were meant to be followed, and, you know, and that was the way. There was no other way.
Yeah.
So we were taught, my sister and I, we were taught to be self-sufficient and independent. And we were taught that there are no excuses. So you do things right the first way, and that way you don't ever have to do them again. And so I believe that the way that I'm able to coach my clients now is based on how I was raised. And all the women in my life, even to this day, the women that I work with now, who are my mentors, even in my sports, my heavy competitive, you know, years, those women in my life as well, they were no holds barred, no excuses. That, you know, if you don't follow through, then you fail, and if you fail, you don't get to play. That's it. You know, it's not like, oh, you still get to step on stage even though you've cheated on all these meals, and even though you don't really look like you're going to win. Oh, well, you know, you did all this work, so we'll still let you go on stage. No, there's no competing if you didn't put in the work. You don't get to play still.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So 100%, 150%, the way that I coach my clients is the way that I've been coached my entire life.
Yeah. So I think I hear you saying that you've been heavily influenced to the leader you are today through your family and through the babysitter that you had.
Yeah, definitely. At least, you know, the caretaker, and, you know, I was 10. She watched me up until I was 10, until we moved to Italy.
Oh, wow.
For 3 years, military, you know.
Yeah.
And then was lucky enough to be able to relocate back to San Diego again. So,
okay.
But yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned when you competed, what sport did you compete in? Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Growing up, I was all water sports. So water polo, swim. I surfed a lot after high school. I was always a water baby growing up. And so I didn't really do much in the gym. I didn't start lifting weights until after college. I was probably 25, 24 when I started lifting for the first time. And
wow.
So I really didn't know what my potential was in the gym. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know what I didn't like. I didn't know what I was good at. I didn't know what I was bad at. And so for my first probably 3 years, I was competitive. I tried my hand at fitness competitions and in figure. Didn't do so hot, but I could lift really heavy. And so from all the swimming, my legs, my shoulders, I was always the sprinter in both my swim medleys, and in water polo, I was always the starter who would sprint for the ball and get it to our team first. And so even though I have the background of, kinesiology and sports medicine, these things really didn't click to me until many years down the road, which is kind of funny, But I'm a very natural, explosive athlete. And I've actually had some genetic testing done a few years back that showed I'm almost equally as explosive as I am an endurance athlete. And so,
wow.
and so I could lift weights, lots of reps, and for long periods of time. And because I could do that, that was what was fun for me. And so the only problem is that I put on muscle very easily because I've been, so athletic my whole life. And just because of the type of muscle fibers I have, they convert a lot easier and they grow a lot easier. The bad thing is when you're in figure and you're trying to fit your figure into a cookie cutter shape, it makes it very difficult to achieve the results that you need in order to be able to place well on stage.
Yeah.
So throughout my time trying to compete in figure, my coaches were always trying to shave muscle off of my legs. I was always very muscly. Well, when you've been doing egg beaters for 5 years in a swimming pool,
Right.
you're
Which
going to
doesn't
have
sound fun, by the way.
legs. I had sport legs, so I didn't put up with that for very much longer.
Yeah.
I said, I don't like this. This is turning into, labor, not fun in games. And I want to be healthy for fun, not because I have to fit into this cookie cutter physique type thing.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was introduced to strongman. And so I started playing around with some implements, my best friend now, Kristen Rhodes, she's 7-time America's Strongest Woman, 3-time World's Strongest Woman. Wow. She holds the current world record for log overhead press. She's traveled all over the world. She's been in Guinness Book of World Records. She's definitely someone that you might want to talk to down the road about championship leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she was my training partner for 6 years, and her and I had the same coach, Mike Westerling, and he coached her to her current level, and he's who got me to my level as well. I made it all the way to World's Strongest Woman in 2013, placed 5th out of 15 countries all over the world. And that's when I decided, I gave it everything that I had. And there are only a few girls in front of me, but, I already knew the steps that they had taken to get to the levels that they were at. And I just wasn't willing to push it to that level. So I was happy to settle where I was and be proud of what I had done. And so yeah, my last competition was in 2016. It was kind of for shits and giggles. I didn't really train for it, and I didn't tell anyone I was competing in it. And I took one in, and I took first.
Yeah, of course.
And then I also got married that year. And then last year I got pregnant and had a baby this year. So now I'm on my way back to training again and just seeing where it takes me. But it's where I have the most fun. It's where I feel the best, the strongest. I have the most energy. And so that's where I like to play, is in strongman.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, incredible story. So 5th in the world, one of the top in the entire world is amazing. And so there's this pattern that we're starting to see with you, Jennie, which is you rise to the top in just about anything that you do. What do you think it is for you? And maybe this goes into the question as well, as like, I definitely see you as a leader in your industry as the best. Like, I say that all the time, and I send anytime I have an opportunity to send someone your way, I do it because you are the best. You get the results. Results matter, and you get them. And you've talked to that a little bit already, and just you touched on it. If you have clients that are training for a fitness competition or a physique competition or whatever they're called nowadays, you said you'll actually not even allow them to get on the stage if they haven't done the work, or those conversations that are to be had, that have to be had, that have.
Not everybody gets a trophy at Valkyrie Athletics, Nate.
What's that?
Not everybody gets a trophy at Valkyrie Athletics.
Yeah, I love it. So, but that's not all. That is true leadership, and not everyone is willing to take that stand for their clients or for the people that are following them and that you are leading. And so, and I don't think that's something that should be glanced over, because not a lot of people are willing to do that, and that's what really separates the true leaders, for the championship level leaders from the average leaders?
Yeah, Nate, I think something important to mention, and this is definitely not to discount anybody who's a coach, because everybody starts somewhere, right? And we're all on a journey, we're all learning, and it's just part of the process. But when it comes to being a client and searching for someone to help you, I think it's important to know what you're responsive to. So there are a lot of people who don't like my style of coaching, and that's okay. I think, part of why I have the success that I do is because I have a filtration process in the very beginning, where if I think someone's too wishy-washy or who's not serious, I'm not going to stand there and, try to convince them every single day of why they need to get their butt in the gym. That's not my job. My job is to help you, is to help strategize and to help figure out what it's going to take and help lay the path for you to win, for you to do the very best that you could have possibly done. And that's my job. So, when people are looking for a coach, if they need someone who's going to be more flexible with them, then they need to find someone who's going to be more flexible with them. Or if they need someone who's, not going to let them get away with stuff, then you need to find someone who's going to be more stringent, but the same thing could be said on the coach's side. Don't be a yes man. Don't just say yes to every single person who walks through your door, because there's people who are, a right fit, and there's people who aren't a right fit. And I'm very strict about who I work with, because I have certain systems set up in my company that are made for a certain type of individual and not made for others. So I already know, if someone, needs to be able to eat out every single day, that type thing, that I may not be the right person to support them. And, I'll be real with them about their expectations and what's realistic, and then point them in the right direction. Because if they're not going to abide by, the way that we do things, then it's just not going to work. And it's all about the client. It's all about supporting the client in the best way possible. And the more experience you have as a coach, the more you know what that client needs, and the more you can see what they can't see. You're able to see their blind spots.
Yeah, I love that. And, you talk about this process and the continual growth pattern that you're on as a coach, as a leader. It really never stops, right? And so how long did it take you to really figure that out for yourself inside of, this process of finding out who you truly are fit for, or who you even want to work with, and how you lead your team? Because you have a team, right, too? How many people are inside of Valkyrie Athletic?
We have 5 people.
5.
Yeah. We have a strength and conditioning specialist. Actually, everybody that works with us is a licensed sports nutritionist. It's a requirement. They don't have to be licensed to start, but they have to become licensed within a certain amount of days, within a certain year, 1 year. And usually we start them out on an internship first, and we train them before they start working with clients. But yeah, we have got 5 people. And so to answer your question, I would say it was probably after about 4 years was when I stopped being the yes man and started putting my foot down. I actually remember the turning point pretty vividly. So my fitness coach, her name is Marisa de Guzman.
Okay.
Who also was in the military, Nate.
Oh, really? I love it. I think you missed your calling.
I think like attracts like,
Yeah.
I know I've been an athlete my whole life, so I know how I like to be coached.
Yeah.
So, but I remember her telling me that I'm always going to want more for my clients than they are going to want for themselves. And that I cannot take it internally when someone doesn't follow an instruction because it's not a reflection on me. And that was like a brick that hit me in the head.
Yeah.
So hard. I thought, I almost felt like it gave me the permission to be like, okay, I'm not a failure because this person isn't doing what they said they were going to do.
So what was that shift? What was that shift for you? So you hear this and you're like, all right, light bulb goes off, brick to the head. Like, oh, yeah, I can't really save everyone. I can't do the work for them. Like, what happened from there?
Okay, so at this point was when I was working kind of in the Hollywood infomercial space. So
Really?
my first 3.5 years of business, I would be contracted by producers for infomercial companies, commercials, to recruit between 30 and 60 people per product and produce the extreme weight loss transformations that you see on TV infomercials like Nordic Track, weight loss pills, ab crunchers,
So you're the person behind them when they got them on TV and they're like, this one
I
lost 30 pounds. That was you helping them get those results?
Yeah. So they would send us like a sample of the product. They would send us like a few ab crunchers or a couple belts or something like this. And I would do, I know you travel to California a few times. I don't know how often you're down in San Diego, but I remember this one I did was for do you recognize the name Mari Windsor Pilates?
No.
So Joseph Pilates is the guy who created Pilates.
Okay.
And Mari Windsor of Windsor Pilates, she has a very famous studio in Hollywood.
Okay.
She was his, predecessor? Or she's the one who took over after him.
Yeah.
And so she has all these DVDs and all these different programs. And so she hired this production company to get some women who would be fit for her, DVD series and her commercial and be able to do the exercises live on the infomercial and that kind of stuff. And so I would train between 30 and 60 people, one trainer, me, myself. And I would set up cones down at the park, down in Belmont Park where the roller coaster is in the grass. Yeah. And I would just do drills of people. I would just be training all these people all at once.
30 to 60 people.
30 to 60 people per product.
Yeah.
Per contract that I took on. And Mari would come down in her stretch limousine and they would park right next to my car. I remember it. Her driver would wash my car on Wednesdays when they would drive down and she would demonstrate the exercises for those who made it to the end of the 90-day transformation. She would choose who got to go onto the commercial and who would go onto the DVDs, the packaging and stuff like that. So that by the end of the transformation, they already knew all the exercises. Yeah. So that was just one example. It was pretty funny. So I decided that at the end of about 3.5 years after doing this time and time and again, extreme weight loss, 30 pounds in, 90 days, 30 pounds in 60 days, just really extreme results, was that I wasn't excited about working with these people. It just kind of felt like another job. I would get annoyed when people didn't follow the instructions. But it is actually something a little bit more than that. I also kind of deep inside of me knew that I wasn't helping these people to health. That these were cookie cutter meal plans, that these were cookie cutter training plans that I was putting them all through. Nothing was catered to each individual. There would be weeks, since they had to do weekly check-ins, if they didn't make their weight quotas, they would get cut from the program. I started noticing girls would be doing things to make sure that they made weight, and then they would go off their plans during the week and then freak out and do something extreme to make weight. And I thought, I'm supposed to be a promoter of health and wellness. And here I am teaching people how to have eating disorders just so they can get a free, nutrition and trainer and make it onto a commercial, and say that they got these amazing results. And I said, that's not what I'm passionate about. And that's not what I really want to be doing. And so that's when I switched to working with athletes. I said, I thought to myself, I'm an athlete. I've always wanted to work with athletes. Remember, I wanted to wear the khaki pants and the polo shirt.
Yeah.
And that's when I made the switch.
Okay. Wow.
That's when I started working with fitness competitors and sports athletes.
And that was how long ago?
So that was 6 years ago. Yeah, that was 6 years. 7 years ago. 6, 7, somewhere.
Yeah. So you said that you would see these clients doing things that weren't necessarily healthy or weren't really following the plan, and were just trying to find hacks to get around it so that they could stay a part of the program, and how you didn't like that to you isn't right.
No.
You said promoter of health and wellness. I think of like a leader of health and wellness, right? Because a true leader would not be okay with that. They, have standards, they have values, and they want to do things right. And you want it to work with athletes, and you want it to be able to individualize, because you realize that there's no one plan meant for anyone, right? I mean,
yeah. And you can't work with that many people, and individualize everybody's program when there's just one of you.
Yeah. And that's what you do. For me personally, like, you truly do individualize it, and you truly do define what they want. I mean, I'm sure, again, to an extent, but I've seen what you've done for me, and like,
I'm just laughing because you, out of all of our clients, I think I was just kind of laughing inside when you said, I've done some, events here and there. I'm like, you just did a 120-mile bike race this weekend, a 50K race the week before that. I feel like I'm running next to you trying to get these, No, yeah. It's like I told you, this is everything within me is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
I don't ever go a day where I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to go to work.
That's so amazing. How does that feel?
It's awesome. I'm in love with my life for sure.
Yeah. What would you say, what's the biggest characteristics of a leader, or how would you define a leader? Like, what are the things that you have to truly be this championship leader, the person that you are today inside of your business, inside of your industry?
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind, I didn't think about any answers to anything before I came on. So I'm sorry if it's not just rolling off my tongue. So my gut tells me that a leader is somebody who has gone through the struggle. A leader is somebody who has had to fight tooth and nail to get to where they are, and who can see the road that others are trying to take because they've been there before. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe someone may correct me after listening to this, or give me a different example. But when I try to think of the opposite, so that I can decipher which is from which, I kind of think, how can somebody lead from the back seat, by just coattailing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like somebody who's had to dig and lay their own path.
Yeah.
To be able to help and teach others and lead others to do the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. That's
my
great.
Mixed up, jumbled way. That's, I guess, what I say.
That's beautiful, because in my mind, I think most people, or my tendency would be like, they have to be an amazing communicator. They have to, it's this presence that they have about them. No, I love your answer. It's awesome. It's great.
Because if you can't communicate, communication is key. I've never been in the military, but I've been through enough military type trainings and everything, even working for the hospital and learning how different hospitals have to communicate with each other in the time of maybe a natural disaster or something like that. You have your different, command centers and things like that. You have to have proper communication. You have to have proper handoffs. You have to be able to work as a team. That's, I think, the other thing that I'm really good about is that I have a lot of experience, don't get me wrong, but I don't try to be a know-all in the same sense. There are certain things, my strength is sports nutrition and performance. So there may be other areas that I'm also passionate about, but that I'm not a master of. And so I look to others and I refer my clients to others who are masters of those areas, so that we're not sitting here wasting time trying to figure stuff out when I could just, have this client connect with this specialist, and that specialist and I work together as a team to get this client moving on their way. So I'm able to pinpoint red flags and issues, maybe with hormones, blood tests, things like that, where the body's maybe not responding in the way that it's supposed to be responding, and we need to take a deep dive look at things. I'm willing and able to know who to point the client in the right direction so that we can meet back up and figure out how to get them forward, versus a lot of other fitness professionals out there who maybe they don't want to seem like, they don't know what they're doing. And so they keep trying to, apply certain things to their training or to their nutrition. And a lot of times end up injuring the client or pushing the client further into a deeper hole of where they were already at. And so I think that a good leader is okay with playing part of a team versus trying to, only say, I'm going to be the best. I can tell you I'm not threatened by other people in my industry. I have mad respect for a lot of the other companies out there and what they're doing. I do believe that we're unique in our own with what we do, because I still, each company out there has their own special thing that they do, and so, and we have our own unique thing that we do. Even though we're all still kind of doing the same thing, we're still unique in certain ways in what we provide. And mine is tip-top service. And so we're quantity over quality. And I know that my counterparts are not necessarily that, based on how they run their businesses. So, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So it's just however you decide, you want to run your business. But I think as a leader, you need to be okay, and you need to take charge and take the lead. If something is not working right for your client, it is your responsibility to show them how to get what they paid you to help them get in one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. And I love what you just said about not, about your competition, right? A true championship leader is not worried about what anyone else is doing. That's like a scarcity mentality, right? You have this prosperity mentality, and we talk about it all the time inside the Prosperity Revolution. Is, it's all about being prosperous and being a leader that, number one, it speaks to who you are and where you are in your industry as one of the leaders, one of the best. Because when you're the best, and again, this isn't to be cocky or anything like that. It's just that you are the best. And it's not that you go around like touting that or walking around with your head up and saying I'm the best. But at the same time, you're not worried about anyone else. You're focused in on your clients, on your family, on the people that you employ, that help you to get where you are. And that's just such a true testament to you and to this conversation that we're having. So I love that you said that. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes you think. Yeah, I know you have kids. So it just kind of makes you think of, the characteristics and the skill sets that I want to make sure to instill in my daughter Harley, as she grows up,
Yeah.
so that she can fend for herself, and she can be successful in any situation or scenario that she finds herself in, I think that's important.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you're going to do an amazing job at it. And you're going to probably suck along the way too, just like me. But that's all right. As long as you just know that, every opportunity is a new one. You can continue to move forward. So what I want to talk about real quick is let's talk about, so we've talked a lot about the highlights and kind of the journey along the way and where you've come from. When was there a defining moment where you really truly had to, like, was there ever a time where you're like, screw this, I'm going to go do something else, this is hard? Or was there a time like, I don't know if I can do this, and where that inner, like, powerful woman that you are and leader that you are didn't allow you to do that and kept you on this path? Like, is there anything that comes to mind when I talk about maybe some of the more challenging times in your path to where you are today inside of your industry?
Yes. So, I can talk about two instances. So this is on a more personal level inside Jennie Roberts. So, I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2nd grade, and I was medicated for ADHD all the way up until 10th grade in high school, when they took it away because I was selling it to my friends in school. Because I didn't want to take it. All my friends told me that I was a zombie. They said, "You're not fun, Jennie." People would make fun of me and say, or they would just convince me that I wasn't cool when I was taking my medications and stuff like that. And so I struggled a lot in school because I couldn't ever, it was very difficult for me to get good grades. And I almost didn't graduate high school because of it. And so when I did barely graduate high school, at the end of my teeth, and I went into college, I actually got re-diagnosed as an adult because it was so important for me to be able to do well in school, because I was really passionate about what I wanted to do, right? I had allergies. That's why I keep wiping my eye, not because I'm crying. I'm okay with saying this. I've said this in multiple interviews. My mother thought that my passion for personal training and fitness was going to be such a long road that she didn't think I was ever going to make it. And so the reason that I took a detour in the medical field is because she found an opportunity for me to study medical coding through UCSD Extension. It was a 1.5-year program that would allow my foot in the door in a very hard to get position that paid extremely well. And that was a remote position. That was kind of one of those positions that you can't get into unless somebody dies or retires. And that I would have complete security in this type of position. And so I listened to her and I went through the program and was able to get through the program. And when I graduated, you have to take your board exams still, your state board exams. And so I took the exams right after I got out of that program, as was recommended, because the information is so fresh on your head. And I failed miserably. I actually interviewed for a hospital, Sharp Grossmont Hospital out here, for a position that my mom had gotten me the opportunity to test for since she had worked for it there. And what should have only taken me an hour took me 6 hours to finish, and I walked out bawling my eyes out. And a year later, I had a friend who I went to school with who got a job at Children's Hospital here in San Diego, said there's a position open, and the manager loves what we're able to do so much. She said, if you have any friends who went to the program with you, let me know, and I'll let them test. So she got me in to test at Children's Hospital, and I passed. And so, but the caveat was I still had to pass my board exam within a certain amount of time. And so 4 years went by, and because I was able to, our charts got audited, and we were so micromanaged, right? Because we had to produce a certain amount of charts within a certain amount of time. I was able to do all of those things well, but I was not able to pass my board exams for the life of me. And whenever you take your board exams, you have to wait an entire year before you can retake them again. You can't take them immediately again right afterwards.
Okay.
So I knew like where my weaknesses were on the exam. I couldn't go take it right again and try and pass it. So I tried hypnotherapy. I tried tutoring 3 to 4 days a week at $60 a pop. I tried getting back on my medication again after stopping it, after getting through the program. I tried all kinds of things to pass this damn exam. I could not pass it for the life of me. Keep in mind, I was already teaching my boot camps at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
I was prepping for my figure competitions at 4 a.m. I would go teach my boot camps at 6 a.m. and then I would start work at 7:30, and I would work till 3, and then I would go teach boot camp again in the afternoon, and then I would go do my fitness competition training again in the evening before that, and I would go to bed at 9 and wake up at 4 and do it all over again.
Wow, that's the discipline you were talking about. Wow.
I would have 7 gym bags lined up against my closet, and all of my clothes were packed for the entire week. All I had to do was grab a gym bag and go. I didn't even have
love
to
it.
grab it.
Wow.
And so when I decided to go back to school, back to study my kinesiology and nutrition and all that stuff, just as kind of like a side project. And I flew through my exams like Gone with the Wind. I flew. Everything was like soft butter for me to get through that stuff because I was so passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I came to realize the reason why I can't pass this other board exam is because I was never, ever meant to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not passionate. Deep down inside, my conscience is telling me, run as fast as you can. It's not what you're supposed to do. And so like I said, I quit the hospital in 2011. It was like I was standing on the edge of a cliff and I was going to jump and I was going to quit. I was going to leave my 401k. I was going to leave my full insurance benefits. I was going to leave the 70 grand I was making a year. I was going to leave the being able to work remote from home whenever I want. I make my own schedule. I clock in and out whenever I want to, and nobody's watching me, that type deal.
Yeah.
All of that with just the blind faith of, I don't care if I'm not making any money, I'm doing what I love. And I'm helping people because that's how much joy I get out of seeing the smile and the reward on people's faces when I actually lead them to where they want to be. And that's all the payment I need to live life the way I want to live life. And so I did. And that's when we opened Fit with Jennie. So now fast forward to now, my business has grown so quickly. I've done so much in this time. Inducted into the Hall of Fame. I'm working with, retired NFL players, NFL combine training camps, high school football kids, trying to get into the Nike combine. Olympic long jumpers, aerial artists that travel with Motley Crue, CrossFit Games competitors, marathon runners, triathletes, ultra marathon runners. I'm living my dream, doing exactly what I want to do since I was a little kid. And the turning point was when I realized when I do what I love, I succeed wildly. When I do what other people tell me they think I should be doing, I hate life and I suck at it.
That is such a motto to live by right there. I love that. That is incredible. What a story. Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. So I think one thing that I would like to share before the end, I didn't really get a chance to talk about, was the meaning behind Valkyrie athletics.
Yeah, please.
So a Valkyrie in Nordic mythology are the angels who come and save the fallen war soldiers and take them away to Valhalla to be saved. Now, I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but the Valkyrie, to me, stands for myself and my teammates who every day we put in our blood, sweat, and tears to help those athletes who have been through broken systems. We help mend them and put them back together and send them off onto their Valhalla and to compete and be the best that they can be in whatever sport they choose to be. We show them and we lead the way. I have crawled and walked miles and miles and miles to get to where I'm at today. And I've had to struggle and figure out my way on my own without the help, of a lot of others, because I didn't always have people believing in me. And so Valkyrie Athletics and what we do for our clients now, it's not just a cool name for a company. The systems that we do and the type of coaching that I do is not just for shits and giggles because it's cool to say to work with athletes. What we do and what I do with the clients that I work with is literally, with all of my being, what I have lived through. And so I almost feel like I attach myself to my clients. I'm competing through my clients' competitions. I am with them 100% of the way. I am doing what I wish other people would have done for me so that they don't have to struggle in the same ways that I struggled. So I just wanted to be able to explain that because, again, I mentioned earlier, we're very unique from how other companies run their business. And I want people to understand why we are the way that we are, why I'm so strict and strenuous, why I filter, why, we do the things we do. It's because I know what it takes to be the best of the best. I know what it takes to get through struggle. And it's not whining, cheating, or anything else. It's doing the work. So that's Valkyrie Athletics for you, Nate.
That is amazing. Thank you for
being
sharing
part of it. You are a picture perfect person.
I'm proud to be a member of Valkyrie Athletics. I do not take it lightly. So thank you. And everything you just explained, you have been leading the way. And thank you for sharing that. You should share that message more often. And you had your opportunity to do it here, and we'll get it out to as many people as we can. But I feel like I could sit here and talk to you for hours, but we won't do that.
I know. I thought about it. I was like, when you sent me over the topic, I was like, this is going to be a long podcast.
That's been amazing. And thank you for, imagine what would have happened had you at the edge of the cliff, not surrendered.
To the voice.
And listened and followed your passion, followed what you truly wanted to do, even though you had all these reasons really not to, right? Like you had the 401k, you had the 70K a month or a year income. You were able to basically come in and go when you wanted inside of your business and working remote from home, and all these reasons not to, and just wasn't what you wanted in life. And you listened and you are now where you are today in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And truly one of the best, one of the elite, a championship leader inside of what you do. And I thank you, because had you not done that, had you not listened, I probably would not have reached some of the achievements that I've had in the last 2 years, because you truly were a huge part of that. So thank you so much. Love you, and just appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with us. So thank you.
Yep.
Before we go, tell me how people can hear more about you, and what would be the best way to do that, to contact you if they want, if they're interested in your services and what Valkyrie Athletics is all about, before we get out.
So we are, and for anyone listening to this podcast, you are absolutely invited to visit our website. We like kind of low under the radar. We're not flashy, advertising type service. Our results speak for themselves. So typically the only way people find us is by word of mouth. It's by invite only. But if you're listening to this podcast, you can go to www.valkyrieathletics.com, and maybe Nate, you'll be able to spell that out for them.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the post. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. If you like fitness motivation and recipes and things like that, you can go to our Instagram page. That is 100% cool fitness motivation memes and fun recipes, or you can go to our Facebook page, business page as well. If you want to follow me and my family and my personal pages, I'm on Facebook as Jennie Roberts, and Instagram is Jennie Swickla. My maiden CWIKLA.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll definitely put those links to your Instagram, your social media, and as well as to ValkyrieAthletics.com inside of this. And once again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much. It was fun.